My name is Annnoone, and the title of my short story is A Desire for Romance. Working the knot of his tie up to meet the collar of his new shirt, John Kelly squared himself up to the mirror. Taking a step back, he had a good look at himself. Not bad at all, he reassured the reflection before him. Every Sunday morning for 20 years, the same ritual was repeated. The cows were milked at exactly 7, sheds cleaned out, and the sow moved to her big pen. Following the death of his parents, John, an only son, inherited the farm on which he lived. Although he led a busy life, it could often be lonely too, with just his dog Molly for company. Today, though, was the day he was going to change all that. He'd have a word with Mickey, the limp Murphy, after 11 o'clock Mass to see if anything could be arranged. Removing the numerous pieces of Friday's Irish Independent from his face, he examined the damage, and satisfied with the result, he was ready for off. All John could think about for the duration of the Mass was how he would broach the subject with Mickey. After all, he was completely inexperienced in these matters, never having been any closer to a woman other than that of Mrs. Gavigan in the post office, when she leaned across the counter to admire Molly. "Go forth in peace," announced the priest. Suddenly realizing that Mass had ended, he made his way out, stopping by the holy water font. Well, this is it, he thought. Realizing he was about to put his future into the hands of Mickey, he blessed himself repeatedly. Various groups of people had already gathered outside the church when John emerged. In order not to attract any attention to himself, he strolled over to wait by his bicycle until he could see that Mickey was free to talk. As he waited, he reached into his pocket for a cigarette and lit up the last woodbine in the box. Mickey was a popular man in the parish, was an authority on every subject, and everyone had a great regard for him in return. Ever since his accident in the bog as a young fellow, which earned him his nickname, the Limp, he turned his hand to a bit of matchmaking, like his father before him. Over the years, his success and his reputation grew to such an extent that people from all over the country came to seek his advice. Today, it was John Kelly's turn. In the glorious sunshine, John's nerves were beginning to show, and he began to pace up and down. From a distance, Mickey spotted John and instantly knew by his demeanour that there was something important on his mind. The two men acknowledged each other with a nod, and without delay Mickey bid goodbye to the group and headed over in John's direction. There was a lot of coughing, spitting and shifting of feet before conversation began. John usually wasn't lost for words. In fact, he joined in with many discussions in McKeown's pub on a Saturday night. However, right at the part where the words he had rehearsed in his head should have come out, his voice failed him.